So the Parliamentary Ethics Committee that's looking into the cash for query allegations against Trinamool Congress MP Mahua Moitra has approved the recommendations of her expulsion from the Parliament for the remaining part of the ongoing Lok Sabha in its meeting held today. Now, sources have told NDTV that 6 members of the committee had voted in favour of the recommendation and 4 had voted against the recommendations. The ones who voted in favour of the report, apart from BJP's own MPs, included Hemant Godse. He belongs to the Shiv Sena that's led by Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde. Praneet Kaur, who is the wife of the former CM of Punjab, Amarinder Singh, who joined the BJP last year. She has also voted in favour of the BJP here of the report of the Ethics Committee's recommendations today. Praneet Kaur, if you remember, was suspended by the Congress party earlier this year for anti-party activities. Now, this draft report has suggested cancelling Ms. Moitra's membership. It has found her actions. Remember, she's embroiled in this cash for query scam. She's been accused of asking questions that perpetuate the interest of the Hiranandani group, and she's been accused of taking gifts from Darshan Hiranandani, who's an industrialist. Mr. Hiranandani himself has corroborated these claims. So this ethics panel's report that we have gone through has found her actions extremely objectionable, unethical and criminal. It also recommends an institutional probe. Now, this is very important. It recommends an institutional probe into the whole matter. Remember, the Lokpal has directed the CBI to look into the criminality aspect of this case. Several opposition MPs, however, have also put in their objections today. Later, the panel members had to take a vote on this matter. This whole decision of acceptance of the committee's report was through a division of votes, 6 people in favour of it and 4 not in favour of it. The recommendations of this committee will be submitted to Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla tomorrow. That's what we hear. That's what the committee's chairperson, Vinod Sonkar, has told the media people today. 10 members attended the meeting. Of the 7 BJP MPs who are part of ethics panel, only 4 could attend the meeting. MPs such as BJP's V.D. Sharma or Congress's Uttam Reddy could not attend the meeting as they were busy with the election campaign in their states. Remember, Mr. Uttam Reddy was also one of the 5 MPs who had walked out of the meeting of December 2nd, when Mahua Moitra was cross-examined on the nature of favours and gifts she took from Mr. Hiranandani. Remember, Mr. Hiranandani is accused of bribing Ms. Moitra to perpetuate his business interest. He also has a signed affidavit in which he has admitted doing so. He has already submitted this to the ethics panel. Ms. Moitra, meanwhile, has in the last few days denied such allegations. She has given TV interviews, but she has also admitted to sharing login credentials with Mr. Hiranandani, who she called a personal friend. What we understand from our sources is that the Home Ministry has also raised severe red flags over sharing of login credentials that Ms. Moitra did, calling it a risk to the security of the Parliament. It has said in its report that 47 of her logins were from Dubai. Her travel details did not match with that. 47 logins being from Dubai. This is what the Home Ministry has told the ethics panel. The ethics panel had reached out to Home Ministry, MEA and the IT Ministry to get more details on this issue. And now, because the login is also used to share the drafts of bills, this issue has been flagged as something that compromises security of the Parliament and also national security. This is what the Home Ministry has told ethics panel in its submission. Now, this ethics panel has also, of the 3 important recommendations, one of this is also that BSP MP Danish Ali, who is a member of the ethics committee, be admonished or reprimanded for allegedly twisting and moulding the intent of Chairman Vinod Sonkar's questions to Ms. Moitra and fomenting public sentiments against the panel. Now, the committee chairperson, Vinod Sonkar, is an MP from the SC community. He's an MP from the BJP from Uttar Pradesh. He had cross-examined Mahua Moitra on her alleged equation with industrialist Darshan Hiranandani, who had himself admitted to giving bribes to the TMC MP for asking questions in the Parliament. Now, 51 of the 60 questions that Ms. Moitra asked allegedly were from the areas of businesses that the Hiranandani group is deeply invested in. Now, that includes commercial real estate, esports and data centers. Now, what does Ms. Moitra's likely expulsion mean for the TMC that has not fully backed her till now? Earlier in the day, we also saw TMC's General Secretary Abhishek Banerjee speak on this matter. He did this for the first time. He said that Ms. Moitra was perfectly capable of defending herself. The Lok Sabha Ethics Committee has also asked the Lok Sabha Speaker to frame a set of rules to check unruly conduct of lawmakers. This is also part of the report that was accepted by the panel today. Now, this 500-page draft report of the 15-member panel was adopted, of course, with opposition MPs showing resistance. They have said that the inquiry was not fair, as Darshan Hiranandani, who plays a central figure in this controversy, should have also been summoned. Remember, the Ethics Committee has 15 members, 7 of whom are from the ruling BJP. The others are from opposition parties. 5 MPs had walked out of the meeting on November 2nd when Mahua Moitra was being questioned. Now, the government is expected to move a motion to expel Mahua Moitra from Krishnanagar in West Bengal on the first day of the monsoon session, which is expected to be convened sometime in the first week of December. Now, the expulsion seems to be it's asking a lot of questions. Now, what does this mean for the larger question of the conduct of MPs, of the ethical and moral conduct of MPs? What are Mahua Moitra's options now? How does the case proceed? We are asking all those questions tonight, and we are soon going to be joined with a panel of guests to discuss this. We have with our senior journalist Sanjay Singh, advocate Ashish Srivastava, lawyer Nikhil Mehra, analyst Gargi Nandi, and Alok Vats from the BJP. Let me go to Sanjay Singh first. Mr. Singh, please, thank you all of you for joining us on this debate. Mr. Singh, today the committee, of course, has accepted the report. Now it goes to the speaker tomorrow. And the charges against Ms. Moitra are clearly very serious, because that is what, describes, and that is what basically validates this whole fast tracking of action that is being done. How do you see this action, sir? And what does this mean for the larger, circle of MPs and, the need to check unruly conduct or criminal conduct of MPs?
The charges against Mahua Moitra were very serious from the day one it was leveled, since the day it came out. More so when Darshan Hiranandani in his sworn affidavit kind of substantiated whatever was initially alleged against Mahua Moitra. Now, since the committee has given its recommendation and has been adopted by the committee, of course, by a division, that is irrespective, because ultimately, even in court of law, when there is a split in verdict, it goes by the majority way. So that question is only academic and not substantive. Now, Mahua Moitra expulsion is certain. Of course, only 2 sessions of parliament of this Lok Sabha is left, winter and budget session. Budget session, of course, would be truncated session. But even then, if Mahua Moitra is expelled from the Lok Sabha, the ignominy it brings to Mahua Moitra and to Trinamool Congress, and I dare say to the whole kind of ecosystem which Mahua Moitra was kind of championing and was taken as foremost kind of speaker and leader of that particular group, and also to the India Alliance. So its implications are multifold. Now that is one part, the ethics committee part. Now another part of legality. There is allegation of bribery in terms of those apologists for Mahua Moitra, and Mahua Moitra herself has said, where is the cash? When a cash in terms of bribery or in any other terms is exchanged, there is practically, till such time, even if you see anti-corruption bureau of state agencies or CBI, then they mark the note. In this particular case, there would not be marking, and even if the cash was seized, somebody would say, this is my own cash and something. But then it is not only determinant on recovery or cash, or there are a whole lot of other evidence whereby Mahua Moitra's expenses, gifts, so on and so forth, have been made through Darshan Hiranandani, and to what cost. The fact remains that an MP, that would, of course, come in CBI's investigation, right, or investigation of some other agencies. The even wider question is, what does a login and a password mean?
Right.
It means that besides asking question or becoming voice of some corporate house against another corporate house or to perpetuate their interest,
Right.
a whole lot of other information is the key. The timing of information is the key in modern times. So even if some information which may otherwise seem to be very casual to another person may be very, very valuable to a person who has interest in that particular area, or if that particular information within that given time frame is passed on to somebody else. So Mahua Moitra, very difficult times for Mahua Moitra and all those.
Right. Mr. Vats, I would like to come to you first. When the panel has said that there needs to be an institutional probe into this matter and they have asked for a time-bound probe, how serious is this matter and how do you see this playing out politically? Because BJP has been extremely aggressive against the TMC. TMC is facing a lot of charges. 4 of its ministers are under the scrutiny of investigating agencies. And today we also saw summons to Abhishek Banerjee. How do you see this matter playing out politically in West Bengal, sir?
Let me tell you one thing, that what Mahua Moitra has done is totally against the democratic norms. See, the amount of questions he has asked for a particular group of company itself shows, and giving that password, which is a very heinous crime. And now the ethics committee has found that she is guilty. So this will have a bigger say on TMC and its people, who within every 2-3 months, someone is getting dug up, and things are being found. We started with Partho Banerjee, the amount of cash that he had stashed in West Bengal, and after that, series of people. So it is definitely going to have an impact on the election when it takes place in West Bengal, that yes, these people have taken the state exchequer's money and they have looted the state exchequer's money and, taken it for their personal use or whatever it is. Right. And as regards Moitra, she must have taken some illegal favors to do all this. Nobody can, do such favors and give, her everything that is secret without accepting something. Now that has to be probed, which the committee has recommended, and it is a time-bound probe that they are asking for. So I think let it come out, and I think she will be found guilty and she will be punished because of her guilt. So we have to just wait for that probe to take place, and we'll know the findings of that probe. But definitely, he is going to be troubled, and she is in trouble because of her deeds. There's no doubt, and this will have a political ramification, not only on her career but also on the TMC led by Mamata Banerjee.
Right. Ms. Nandi, I'd like to ask you this. So many judges, and this is something I want to ask the lawyers in the panel also, both Mr. Mehra and Mr. Srivastava, starting with Ms. Nandi. Many judgments in the past have said that illegal gratification doesn't always need to be hard cash or pecuniary, right? So Ms. Moitra's defense saying that where is the cash is largely inadequate because she has admitted to taking some gifts, and the bribe giver here has himself said that he has also given her gifts, including, getting her house redone or bearing travel expenses. So when an institutional probe is recommended by the Ethics Committee and the CBI is already in the picture here, what does this mean?
See, if we see, as you have seen the past precedents that you have quoted, see, in the past we have seen in 2005, 11 MPs were expelled for same cash for query, right? And then even if you go back in 1951, Congress's H.G. Mudgal, he was also forced to resign from the provincial parliament that time for the crash for query. He had taken only 5,000 rupees. And now Mahua Moitra herself has accepted. Darshan Hiranandani said, Bobby Brown Cosmetics, see the cost. If a parliamentarian takes any gift over 5,000, she has to report. And her travel expenses, her house rent, and obviously huge expenses. And if there is an investigation, see, there were 47 logins precisely. And if you see her questions, Vasudha, you can understand how they were always related to the Hiranandani interest. See, she has raised question about the MOU targeting the Paradip port between Adani, GAIL and IOC. And what had happened? Hiranandani had won the bid for natural gas pipeline at Paradip. She had raised questions about the handling capacity of Kolkata port. Hiranandani signed a MOU with Kolkata Port Trust. She raised question about the readiness of 5G. And then what happened? We see that Hiranandani's company, Yota, had applied for license for global personal satellite rights. So all this, it cannot be. Do you think these are all coincidences that she asks question and somewhere or the other interest of a particular corporate is served? So what Mahua Moitra has done, it is not only morally, ethically wrong, criminal offense. Firstly, morally wrong because as a parliamentarian, any representative of the people, I think must have two qualities, the desire to serve and the ability to perform. She had none. She had no desire to serve her own people at her constituency. She did nothing for them. A river in her constituency is drying, people are suffering. She did nothing for that. But all her questions were regarding some corporate. What did she serve? She served a corporate interest for her personal gain. And doing so, she has endangered the security of the country. So from the past precedents, as I've quoted 51 and 2005, where MPs were expelled or forced to resign, here she not only has taken favor, which can be in kind, even if it is not cash, so what? The amount is huge. She has taken favors and there's a quid pro quo. She has asked questions and she has endangered the security of the country. She is member of select standing committees. So imagine if somebody else also enters, there can be some data which can go into some wrong hands. Right. So she has endangered the security of the country.
Yes,
so
ma'am. That is an important point. Yes, Mr.
She is endangered.
Yes, Mr. Mehra, we've talked about this earlier. So tell us, this NIC sharing sharing of login credentials and the Home Ministry's submissions to the ethics panel is also very serious because it talks about this NIC login, credential or security credential, this login account not being just for posting questions and just logging out. It also is a tool for the government to ensure that MPs are they know what is happening. It is also used for sharing drafts of bills. It also has details of what kind of submissions government departments make in front of parliamentary committees. And many of this is definitely very confidential. So tell us the magnitude of and the security implications of sharing login credentials, especially by an MP.
So, Vasudha, the key here is that when you present it in this manner, that there are so many credentials, there's so much material that is otherwise available for someone who has access to these credentials, that in legal terms will imply that the charge that can be framed against the person who has provided that login credential will only increase, will only expand. So there may be potential charges that relate to national security. There could be various sections. Now, technicality of which sections will depend on the nature of the material. There may be certain compromise of economic assets. There may be a compromise of even auction procedures that were exercised by various governments at different times. So this is quite serious. I mean, look, this is it is eventually a circumstantial case, and these circumstances are starting to come together. So the evidence provided by the NIC is a substantial circumstance. It starts to thread together one element of this, which is the point of access. If you go from the other side, you have Mr. Deodarai's statement, you have Mr. Hiranandani apparently making an affidavit and perhaps even turning approval formally. And if he does so, then this whole thing starts to match up, because then you can correlate times, dates, logins, nature of information with actual bribes given and emoluments received. So this is how they are quite tightly, from what I can see, building a full case around.
Right. Right, Mr. Mehra. Mr. Srivastava, coming to you and with a question that everyone wants to ask. What are Mahua Moitra's options now? Of course, she ceases to be an MP for at least the 17th Lok Sabha. Can she approach the Supreme Court? We do have a precedent, like Ms. Nandi was pointing out, of the 2005 case where we did see Supreme Court upholding the decision by the Parliament. So what are Mahua Moitra's options now, legal options?
See, in 2005, as we see, there was a sting operation, and based on that sting operation, the expulsion had taken place after the investigation by the Ethics Committee. The report was placed, and there was a debate. And after the debate, there was voting, and accordingly, they were expelled. And then the matter had gone up to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court had upheld the decision taken by the Parliament that whatever expulsion which has been taken place is correct, is as per the law. Now, here in this case, if you see the options available to Ms. Moitra would be that she can approach the court, maybe the Supreme Court, where she can say that the procedures have not been followed, what she is alleging. However, that will depend again on the Supreme Court to look after the matter and the issue in details. However, here the person who has paid, what the person himself is claiming, that I have paid, I have given gifts, and he has filed his own affidavit, unlike the 2005 case, where there was a sting operation basically. But here the person who says I have given himself is making the allegations on affidavit, and is also producing whatever documents or evidences Mr. Hiranandani would have before the committee as to what is the trail of the, the money, how it has been paid, or maybe the gifts. See, any parliamentarian who has been elected by following the due democratic process has to be very serious while even accepting gifts, even if it is not cash or whatever, but even the gifts are very, very crucial and important as per the code of conduct, which is drafted especially in chapter 9, which clarifies that how the conduct of a parliamentarian has to be. Now, when she has taken those gifts and on record she has asked certain questions in the parliament, and the same has been alleged by this Mr. Hiranandani, who says that he has paid the amount or maybe the gifts, he has even remunerated her house and everything he has done. And accordingly, the questions were asked in the parliament. So now, considering the entire aspect, and under Rule 316, the report has been prepared and will be placed before the speaker by the chairman of the Ethics Committee. After that, the discussion may take place, and then the motion can be brought in the parliament for expulsion by voting process.
Right.
So now after that, as I said, that she may approach the court with her grievances as an option. But, the chances of any court taking cognizance in her favor would not be that easy in this case when it was not taken up in 2005 case.
Right.
Because this case is more serious as compared to 2005 case, because here the credentials like ID and password, which is very, very important and crucial, credentials has been shared by a third person with a third person. So that will also have an impact. And the criminal part, as many are alleging that the corruption has to also be investigated by independent agencies like CBI or maybe some other agency. That is another part of it. So that will further continue.
Absolutely,
apart
sir.
from this.
Mr. Sanjay Singh, one question, because I couldn't complete that conversation with you. What does this mean for the TMC and Mamata Banerjee, sir? Because, both Mahua Moitra and Mamata Banerjee represent Bengal, among the poorest states in the country, and an MP has been found of taking expensive gifts. Is there a need to examine this brand of politics where the MP is hardly talking about concerns of her own constituency, which is, of course, among the most backward? She has hardly raised any questions regarding people's problems there. Surely there is some value to Lok Sabha representatives being rooted, engaging with issues that concern people that they represent, and not project themselves as fighting corporates, but actually taking favors from corporates themselves. So does this also call for examining that kind of politics, sir?
I think, Vasudha, what you are saying, I think this must have been debated and discussed by the rank and file of Trinamool Congress. Mamata Banerjee herself was a street fighter. She is a very feisty leader, somebody who left Congress to form her own party, and she suffered a lot in her formative years. She also talked about Mati Manus and her brand of politics, the way she conducts herself in public. That is, irrespective of what brand of politics, but portrayal of Mamata Banerjee as a politician is that of somebody who is a next door neighbor, and therefore she was called Didi. She is called Didi. There could be difference of opinion about the kind of politics she pursues, the kind of corruption that is taking place under her nose in the government. But for rank and file of Trinamool Congress, Mahua Moitra represents just the opposite of what Mamata Banerjee tries to portray. Somebody wearing Hawaii chappal, somebody in cotton sari. Mahua Moitra is just the opposite. But then the question is, Mahua Moitra was chosen by Mamata Banerjee first to represent as an MLA. Then the first time she met with Darshan Hiranandani, according to Darshan Hiranandani affidavit, they met in some investment kind of meeting summit organized by Trinamool Congress, and thereafter their relationship grew. And then she became MP. This is, of course, going to raise many questions, multiple questions, which TMC leadership will have to answer. Even if the rank and file does not ask, are not given the platform, or at least channel to ask this question to the leadership, which is Mamata Banerjee and Abhishek Banerjee, then of course these questions will be asked, talked and discussed, and certain amount of disillusionment has to creep in within her supporter, if not active, kind of party workers among her supporters. This kind of brings disillusionment.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Singh, for making that important point. Thank you, Mr. Mehra. Thank you, Mr. Srivastava. And thank you, Ms. Nandi, for joining us on this discussion. That's all the time we have today. But we'll continue tracking this story. Stay with us for more news and updates.